Title was Dodging the Shadows. Dante had always known the streets of Eastside weren't kind, but what he didn't know was how far the shadows would stretch to find him. It started simple enough. He was just another guy trying to get by, working a dead-end job at the corner store, hustling to pay rent, keeping his head down. But it was his cousin, Marcus, who changed everything. Marcus wasn't exactly a saint. A few months back, he'd borrowed some money from a local gang, the Iron Tigers, promising to pay it back with interest. The thing was, Marcus had a problem with promises. He didn't keep them. Now the Tigers were knocking on Dante's door. "Dante, you know Marcus, right?" The voice on the other end of the phone was low and gruff. It was Big T, one of the Tigers' enforcers. "He's overdue. We're looking for him. If you see him, you tell us where he's at, and maybe, just maybe, we'll leave you out of this." Dante's heart pounded. He hadn't seen Marcus in a week, and the last time he did, his cousin had mentioned something about getting a loan from a different crew. It didn't sit right with Dante, not one bit. He hung up and ran his hands through his hair. No matter what, he had to get out of this. He wasn't a gangster. He didn't want that life. But these weren't people you could just say no to. His mind raced as he thought about his options. Marcus had disappeared for a reason. He was smart enough to keep a low profile. Dante, on the other hand, wasn't. The Tigers knew where he lived, where he worked, and if they couldn't find Marcus, they'd settle for Dante. Or worse. The next few days were a blur. Dante barely slept, walking around in a daze, hoping that someone, anyone, would give him a lead on Marcus. The city felt smaller. The shadows felt longer. One evening, walking back from work, he noticed something strange. A black sedan parked across the street from his apartment. A guy in a leather jacket was leaning against it, staring straight ahead. Dante's pulse quickened. He recognized him. It was Slick, a guy from the Tigers crew. He couldn't just walk by, so he didn't. Instead, Dante ducked into the alley beside his building, heart racing. He knew the city like the back of his hand, so he took a few twists and turns, leading himself to a spot where no one would be able to follow without serious effort. But as he rounded the corner, another figure stepped into his path. Another tiger. This one was taller, wearing dark sunglasses despite it being late. "Dante," the guy said, his voice smooth. "Big T says you're trying to dodge the Tigers. You don't want to make things harder, do you?" Dante had only one choice: run. He bolted down the alley, ignoring the searing pain in his side as his shoes slapped against the pavement. His mind raced. Where do I go? The sounds of